Colts Jags on Sunday, 4 days away. Every game, there are things that you feel good about, and there are things that you worry about. For example, last week, I was worried about how Anthony Richardson would look against the best defense in the NFL. Okay, but I was pretty confident in the Colts defense's ability to get stops because the Steelers don't exactly have a prolific offense. Same thing here with the Colts and the Jags. There are certain things that I'm confident in. There are certain things that I am worried about. So I'm going to give you 3 things I'm confident in and 3 things that I'm worried about. The thing that I'm most confident in for this upcoming Colts game against the Jags is this offensive line. They have been one of the best offensive line units in the NFL. Quentin Nelson and Will Fries might be the best guard duo in the NFL. Okay, and look, I know that we live in a world that tells you that all that matters are offensive tackles. That's just wrong. Offensive guards are incredibly important because they have to block guys like Chris Jones and Aaron Donald. I know Aaron Donald's not playing anymore, but he's just a good example. You need good guards. More importantly, because your offensive guards are the guys who run block. Those are the guys that pull around on power plays and on sweeps, not offensive tackles. Okay, the Colts, and a large part of why Jonathan Taylor has had success this year on the ground is because the Colts have 2 athletic guards that can get out in front of Jonathan Taylor and throw blocks. They make the Colts run game better, which is what this Colts team is all about. They want to run the football, and that is not possible without Quentin Nelson and Will Fries paving the way. And they're even more important this week because it looks like there's no Jonathan Taylor. Mild, high ankle sprain. That's what he's come down with, which is not encouraging at all. I don't expect him to play on Sunday. I expect it to be Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson, which leads me into the first thing that I'm worried about, Jonathan Taylor's health. I've mentioned, a lot this year about how important he is to this Colts offense. He takes a lot of the pressure off Anthony Richardson because on 2nd and 4, Anthony Richardson can just hand it off and Jonathan Taylor can go get a first down. Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson, they're decent backs, but there's a huge drop-off. Okay, that's why we've barely seen them this year. The Colts have ran the football 105 times this year through 4 games. It's not enough, just saying. But Jonathan Taylor has 72 of those carries. Anthony Richardson has 21 of them. Trey Sermon has 9, and Tyler Goodson has 0. They don't want to play these guys. And part of that is because of how great of a player Jonathan Taylor is. But at the same time, they were pretty willing to throw Zach Moss in there last year when Jonathan Taylor was available. But not this year. They don't want Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson to run the football. I don't feel like they have a ton of faith in these 2 backups. And it's going to be interesting to see how if Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, how that impacts the way that the Colts want to attack this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. But if there's any week where the Colts want to throw the ball, it's this week. I am confident in the Colts' ability to throw the football this week, whether it's Joe Flacco at quarterback or Anthony Richardson. This Jacksonville Jaguars secondary is awful. The Jaguars are giving up the 2nd most passing yards per game, which says a lot considering that they're 0-4 and teams are trying to run out the clock at the end of games. Okay, the Minnesota Vikings are giving up more passing yards than any other team in the NFL, which makes sense because they've blown teams out and teams are throwing the football a lot more against them because of that. The Jaguars are 0-4. Teams are running the ball late in the game to close games out. They're not looking to throw it against this Jacksonville team, and yet they've still given up more passing yards than any other team in the league, not named the Minnesota Vikings. So these Colts receivers, they're going to be able to create some separation. Hopefully that makes the throws easier on Anthony Richardson. Honestly, that might not be a good thing because you can't make the easy throws, right? Either way, though, I expect for the Colts to have success throwing the football this game just because this Jacksonville Jaguars secondary hasn't been good at all this year. Something that I'm worried about, though, when you look at this Jacksonville Jaguars team, there's one thing that they've done incredibly well, and that is run the football. I am worried about this Colts run defense. Okay, the Jacksonville Jaguars are second in the NFL in yards per rushing attempt. This is a team that can and wants to run the football. They're averaging 5.7 yards a carry. They have two good backs between Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. Okay, this is another game where the Colts and their run defense are going to be challenged. And I know that they were better against the Bears. I know they were good against the Steelers, but I still don't have faith in this Colts run defense because of what I saw these first 2 weeks of the season. Okay, this Colts run defense has to be on point again, because if it's not, the Jaguars will gladly run the football amidst all of these Trevor Lawrence struggles, which leads me to something that I'm confident in. I'm confident in these Trevor Lawrence struggles. Trevor Lawrence has been nothing short of terrible this year. He's only completing 53% of his passes. It's not very good. He's not converting on third downs. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 30th in third down conversion percentage at 25% in the NFL this year. So they're not converting on third downs, and they also aren't scoring in the red zone. They are 26th in red zone touchdown percentage at only 42%. This is a bad passing offense. Just a bad offense, period, honestly. They don't convert third downs, and they don't score in the red zone. Usually offenses that don't convert third downs or don't score touchdowns in the red zone aren't good, and that's usually because there's an issue at quarterback. Hopefully these Trevor Lawrence struggles continue as the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Colts on Sunday. Last thing here, the thing I'm worried about. I'm worried about Anthony Richardson. While Anthony Richardson gives the Colts the best chance to win if he plays quarterback, I'm worried because I don't think Jonathan Taylor's going to play on Sunday. And if Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, then there's going to be a heavy reliance on Anthony Richardson. And while he looked great in the 13 plays that we saw from him against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's not who he is consistently yet. And with Anthony Richardson at quarterback, look, he can help the Colts beat anyone, and he can also help the Colts lose to anyone. Okay? And putting more of the offense on his shoulders, which is what's going to happen if Jonathan Taylor can't play. Like, if Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, then the Colts are going to throw the ball more, and they're going to run Anthony Richardson more if he's healthy and if he plays. And that is a nerve-wracking thing because I just don't know if Anthony Richardson is ready for that kind of workload yet. So hopefully he plays great on Sunday. Hopefully Jonathan Taylor's healthy. I don't think he will be, but, we're going to cross the fingers there. Because, Anthony Richardson, up and down, up and down, up and down, as we all know. And hopefully he's up on Sunday. Someone who's not up right now is Davante Adams. He's down. He's down on the Raiders. He's sad. He wants out of Las Vegas, and I can't really blame him. Okay, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he's stuck with Gardner Minshew throwing him the football, and he's stuck with Antonio Pierce being his head coach. Not a great combination if you're a receiver who wants the football a lot. So, people are coming out, dropping their takes. He should go here. The Jets have already extended an offer. The Cowboys are apparently interested. I don't know how the Cowboys can be interested. Like, their money's all locked up. There's no way. And also, the Cowboys need help on defense, not offense. It doesn't make sense. So we're not even going to address that. The Jets, they're a popular destination because of this relationship with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think this will happen. I really don't. The only way I see the Jets making this trade for Davante Adams is if Hassan Reddick is willing to go play for the Raiders, and I don't know if he is or not. Because the Jets just don't have much to give away. Right? Like they could definitely give up a second-round pick. That's not a big deal. But like player-wise, because the Raiders want a second-round pick and a little more, I just don't know what player they'd be willing to part with. Because defensively, like, they need all the pass rushers that they have. They need more pass rushers, honestly. They need Hassan Reddick. Okay, there's nothing that they can really part with. And so the only way I see this Jets trade happening with the Raiders for Davante Adams is if they send Hassan Reddick with the second-round pick. But Hassan Reddick obviously has to be willing to play for the Raiders if that's ultimately what they want to happen. So we'll see. I don't think Davante Adams ends up in New York. Just some other teams that I think have to be mentioned. The Steelers wanted Brandon Ayuk before the year started, so I'm sure that they're going to get in on the Davante Adams sweepstakes. We'll see if he wants to catch passes from Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. That's not exactly a huge upgrade from Gardner Minshew, but we'll see how he feels about that. The Patriots, they checked the same box. They were also in on, trying to trade for Brandon Ayuk, right? They need receivers badly, and Adams would most definitely fill that void. Once again, though, I don't know if Davante Adams wants to go to New England to catch passes from Drake May or Jacoby Brissett. So I don't know about that. The Chiefs, they lost Rashee Rice. They need to be mentioned, but I find it highly unlikely that the Raiders want to trade one of the best receivers in the NFL to a divisional rival that's won the last 2 Super Bowls. So I find that one hard to believe. I don't know if Buffalo will get involved, but the Bills definitely should. Their game against the Ravens would have been more competitive if they had an elite receiver. None of their receivers could really make a play on their own. It felt like all their receivers have to be schemed open, or Josh Allen has to run around for forever, and then someone gets open via the scramble drill. The Bills need a guy like Davante Adams, but we'll see if they get involved or not. The place that I would like to see Davante Adams wind up, and I'm going to talk to Zach Peerless of CBS Sports NFL writer about this at 11 o'clock. I want to see him go play for the Commanders. Their offense is already electric, but it would obviously only get better with a guy like Davante Adams. They need another receiver outside of Terry McLaurin that can win a one-on-one. Like, watching Luke McCaffrey has been cool, I guess, but the Commanders are already a legitimately good team, and adding Davante Adams would only make them better.